Wait, 1 second, 1 second. Okay, there we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, boys and girls. How are we all doing today? Yeah, yeah. I don't even know if we should call them sponsors, honestly. But yeah, we're doing this. Well, we're doing this one way or another. So you know, might as well pay for it and enjoy it. You know. So last time we talked about this what is this, Bronze Age? Oh right, we were going to say that this is actually an Iron Age civilization, weren't we? Yes. Let's do that real quick. Constraints, not constraints. Questions. Why am I unable to? Is it because I did? There we go. Okay, so considerations. Rock. What did I want to talk about? Oh yes. So we wanted to talk about how this kind of society will work in the Iron Age, and it's been so long. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. Ignore that if you did. It's been so long that I think last time I talked about how the theocracy at E was planning a southward expansion to appease their gods. Yeah, I mean this is a very, very common thing to do, right? Especially during this kind of time. So no, it wasn't a beer. No, no. It was I'm having what is this, Coke? Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Oh my god. I forgot that. No, it's okay. Okay. Everything's accounted. Don't worry. Life's good. LG, you know? I actually have a buddy that works at LG that is there you go, okay. And we'll put the city. Oh, and actually no, we'll put the city here because that's a very natural harbor. And it's a very defensible harbor too, right? So that city plus the fortifications on the sides. Let's see. So this city should be like here, right? Like they'll live on the island, like that. And let's just check this one. And this again, this is almost like the Hong Kong, right? You have the mainland, and then you have the island, and the water in here, especially over here, will be nice and quiet. That's a beautiful harbor, actually. Just like this is a beautiful natural harbor, right? Like this inland lake is good for themselves, but like imagine if your capital is here, right? Like no enemy warship is going to be able to come here without first taking this kind of fortification. So it's great. Yeah. Let's put this one here. So democracy C is actually, it is a democracy, right? Yeah, pseudo democracy is actually, it turns out to be a nice maritime power. We'll put this one here actually. No, here. Yeah, we'll just leave it there. That's okay. Just these things. This line. Yeah, so this city. We'll assume that they can pass through here. Okay, so that, yeah, so that this becomes another very natural harbor. And there, excellent. This is obviously a natural harbor. Oh, well, look at all these maritime powers, and they're just around the little inland lake too. But that's a big lake. Yeah, let's check how long that is. From one side to the other, that is length. That's 1,500 kilometers. Ooh, that is. Hey, let me double check. What is the width of the Mediterranean? Maximum of 1.6. Yeah, so that's basically the width of the Mediterranean. That is plenty to fight over, right? Like that is actually fantastic. It ended up working out really well because the Mediterranean in sort of the classical age was the naval realm, right? Like the Romans, the Greeks, and the Egyptians, the Assyrians, definitely Phoenicians. Yes, I can't remember where Assyria itself was located. No, not the Sumerians. No, they were in modern day Iraq. Um, and I think about yeah. My classical knowledge isn't as well built up as it probably should be, unfortunately. Anyway, the point I'm laboriously trying to get to is this is a nice lake. It's got a nice surface areas for us to fight over, and it makes sense that there are major ports on this lake, even though it is an inland lake. Right? Like obviously, when we grow bigger, and we'll have states that cover larger surface areas, then we'll start seeing things change. But until then, there won't be much. No. Future. That's a good question. Uh, it's one that I don't want to, or rather, I didn't want to delve into quite yet, but I can. I can. So think of it this way, right? The way that civilization evolves is very interesting. As a whole, people will run away from war, even as the nations are fighting. So what we will see is that, especially sea, right? These are the pseudo democratic city states. They're going to expand into this direction, and they'll find lots of nice open space for them to expand into. And then, as that pseudo democracy starts fracturing because of the size of their empire, you're going to see sort of interesting successor states arise out of that explore all kinds of like monarchistic, democratic, like oligarchic stuff. What is D? D is a monarchy as well, right? So here we will see interesting successor states that are mostly dictatorships, obviously. Especially if there's no such thing as primogeniture, right? Like in human society, the idea that that the successor would take over all of the titles of the reigning monarch is actually quite a I don't want to say novel, but but it did take some amount of history passing for that to actually become the norm, right? If we go back to sort of the ultimate feudal realms in northern Europe, at one point that was all under the Carolingian dynasty, right? And that fractured into 1, 2, 3, and then those then respectively fractured into modern day France, the Holy Roman Empire, and some amount of Italy. And the Holy Roman Empire is, if anything, like the how do we say, the quintessential example of of succession of dividing up titles amongst your heirs taken to the extreme, right? Like the Holy Roman Empire, before it was sort of conquered by Napoleon, and then like completely dismantled by Napoleon, and then having Prussia and Austria absorb most of it. Before that, it was really like hundreds of city states. Like states sometimes would only be cities and like 30 to 100 kilometers surrounding it, right? And that was considered a state, and that state, in the grand scheme of things, in the diet at Frankfurt, would be imperial diet. Would be would have the same, theoretically would have the same standing as one of the bigger states, and that's eh. If that reminds you of modern day UN, there are good reasons for that. Mhm. Right, because you're supposed to equalize the power. You're supposed to. The idea is to give smaller states the same voice as larger states, and so through that you're supposed to sort of like equalize it a little bit. But anyway, that's not important and not the point. We got on a gigantic. Well, okay, fine. Let me just talk about A and B as well. Where is A? Enlightened dictatorship A. So you will see as the war starts taking over A, obviously, like offshoots of this civilization, it's going to migrate westwards, right? Like they'll definitely this is not exactly hilly terrain, but it is definitely terrain that is far from the source of power for black, which is maybe no. This should be, let's set this as 1 because otherwise that'll be rather difficult to deal with. That can be 3 and that can be 3. Oh, and we should find a proper place for it. Well, I mean, after Napoleon, really, if you think about it, Napoleon was what eventually bred the First World War, right? Like the changes that Napoleon himself pushed through to create essentially the what was it, Kingdom of the Rhine, that he put one of his nephews in charge, or cousins, whatever. Doesn't matter, not important. The fact was that because he dissolved the Holy Roman Empire, the situation in Germany became bipolar, heavily bipolar, right? Obviously, even before that, Prussia and Austria were having their fun, but the diet and sort of the need for that much diplomacy meant that there was more diplomatic play, right? And then but by essentially by helping the Germans unify, what our boy Napoleon did was essentially make it easier for Bismarck to essentially, unify the North via a war with Austria, and then unify the south of Germany into what he called the Little German State in a war with France. And that's where we were, right? Like at the end of Bismarck's, well, not at the end, but like by 1870, the European system was settled because the German Empire had been formed out of Prussia, and Austria was considered quite sickly by then. Not as sickly as the Ottoman Empire, but that's a whole other issue. It's here. I am not a history nerd. Okay, maybe I am. But no, like my knowledge of history really is limited to foreign relations and the spread of civilization. Like I would have no idea about the rise of, for example, feminism in industrial Britain, right? Like in in latter Victorian day Britain, or say like oh. Okay, no, well, I mean, you the suffragette movement is easy to understand, I think, but that doesn't like I certainly don't know enough about it to be able to speak on it, properly. Like, obviously, big things like temperance and prohibition and all of that are almost self-explanatory, right? And so, yeah, I'll know some of that, but mostly it's just foreign relations, and some of the wars, obviously. Anyway, moving on. It's well, it's not my fault that human society in itself is kind of focused on the negative aspects, right? I think that is actually a very interesting reflection of the human brain, of what the human brain is capable of. Because obviously, if and and I will not argue, I will not allow any argument on this. If we go back to our caveman days, evolution had dictated that we must learn from our mistakes. I'm sorry, I just said I will not. I will not take. I will not take argument on evolution. Evolution is simply a fact. It is a law. The only reason they slapped the word theory on the front of it is because it was grandfathered in. Okay, by grandfather Darwin, who is a grandfather to your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather. Okay, just we're done. That's it. Um, yeah. So evolution had made our brains. And yes, I know you were joking, but I know for a fact that there are at least, I would say, 15, no, 15 to 20% of our audience that is secretly gnashing their teeth at the thought that I just mentioned evolution. And I thought I'd head them off before they did anything silly like embarrass themselves in chat. Okay, I promise if I desperately need funding in the future, and and if I desperately need funding and I can not find it anywhere else, I will give the serious thought to your ideas on creationism. Promise. Luckily, I'm not ever going to be desperate on funding. You know what? there is a good case that was made. Okay. Yeah, this bears talking about, and I can't believe that we're what 18 minutes in and we still haven't actually started the bloody discussions. But this bears talking about. Um, the comment was that because our the game space that we're playing in, right? Like this space that we're that we designed this with waterfalls on the edge, and like what was it, hydroelectric power at the bottom, blah blah blah. The fact that this world was created like that it it means our humans in this world, i.e. these guys, um should have some amount of creationist leanings, simply because unlike our spherical world on Earth that is very easily described by physics, this, let's call it, rectangular world is not, right? And so I cannot actually argue against that. I cannot argue against that. We did talk about it last time, or the time before when we built the world, where we talked about the fact that these people can see the edge of the world and what that would have, what effect that would have on their psyche. We didn't talk about the religious aspect of it, but I think, and just for future reference, this was actually brought up by not by a creationist or a secret creationist, but actually by someone whose scientific opinion I very much value. Um, I can't argue with that. That's true. That's true, right? Like the fact that this world does exist like that, and that it does sort of it goes against the principles of entropy, right? Or where a system tries to minimize its own internal energy, and this a flat plane for a world definitely doesn't minimize its own energy, because the way to minimize that energy is to have a sphere. Um, yeah, we will talk about that. For now, though, in the age, this is not a consideration that we have to think too hard about. When we get to sort of like the equivalent of the Renaissance, or actually no, when we get to the classical age, right? We will start thinking about these types of questions. When we get to their equivalent of the Enlightenment, that will definitely be part of the thoughts that we're going to have. I'm just gonna interesting religious thoughts during age. Classical enlightenment. No, not. I can't believe you actually joined. Well, what's up, sis? Um, the good question. We talked about this in the past, but I'll just rehash it for you right now. The water falls off the edge of the map, and there's hydroelectric power sitting down here, really far down, below the plane of the world, and those hydroelectric generators take the water and use the energy generated by the falling water to generate power to push the water back up and into sort of like the deepest parts of the ocean, parts of the mountains where rivers flow and all of that. And I appreciate that thermodynamically that is not viable for the last 2% of energy. Like we can either consider it two ways. We can consider it as the system is perfectly efficient, therefore there is no energy loss in that transfer of gravitational potential energy to kinetic energy that then pushes the water back up, or we can just say magic. Either way works perfectly fine. I mean, okay. I love the fact that this is a discussion, but we really should talk about the civilizations and not just about whether the system would be thermodynamically viable, because it's not. We've talked about why it's not thermodynamically viable. I mean, what else am I gonna say, right? Well, I mean, give credence to the creationists. Yes, I mean that is what we're doing. Perfect energy transfer. Actually, interestingly enough, you should say that, Nona. I don't actually agree with that. Perfect energy transfer is possible. Um, but perfect energy transfer into a mechanical system is basically magic. That I will agree with. Because in an electromagnetic system, your energy. How should we say this? Like the work that got Einstein his Nobel Prize, the black body project problem, is essentially a perfect energy transfer of the electromagnetic spectrum, right? And that actually is like, if you have something that's like, it's just, yeah, no mind, don't worry about it, it's not important. Like, yes, okay, we'll say that if you have to convert energy rather than just transfer it, then that makes things a little bit you're going to have losses whenever you have conversion. That's just a fact, and that's something we can't get across. Anyway, can we? It's like 25 minutes. There's literally no point starting this. No, okay, so we will start it anyway. Let's call this. What do we call this? Let's call this Act 1. Age 1. And we did change it to Iron Age 1. Excellent. Okay. Oh no, wait, hold on. Excuse me. There. Oh, what? Why did I do that? Oh, why do I bother asking this question? Okay, let's log this later. Act 1. Okay. You really must get over yourself, you know? Like, that kind of jealousy is simply not how you should be. You're being a disappointment to your dog. That thing like this. So for those of you who remember our Squirrels at War series, this will be essentially the same. We will have. Oh no, I will need fill, and I will need it at 50%. Oh, I can't make that wider. Okay. So essentially, what we're going to have is we're going to have a war, right? Like, actually not towards A. Towards A. A is an enlightened dictatorship, and B is a monarchy. I think we will have it towards B at first. No, what am I saying? It was supposed to go both ways. Yes, that's correct. Thank you for reminding me. It's supposed to go both ways. So essentially, what's happening is that our theocracy is has found its no, I should be writing this down. Yeah, is it time? No, we got a minute and a half. That's plenty. Let's write this down. Okay. Oops. White. 75% see-throughness. Excellent. So just say, ooh, that theme font is still that big. Okay, 5. Okay, there we go. E. Social. Maintaining social harmony requires external conquest. Like that, not like that. Wait, what? I thought I could. That doesn't make any sense. I used to be able to. Excuse me. You didn't hear that. Don't worry about maintaining social harmony requires external conquest. I don't want to use artifact to use a fixed one. On cliff is not good with embryo is not fixed with unsoulless. Oh, that looks disgusting. That's okay. Social harmony requires external. Let's do it the other way. Religious fervor demand for shall we say this internal instability among the ruling. Yeah, let's put it that way. That sounds about right. That is not right. There we go. So maintaining, and so therefore, because the internal instability among the ruling class, charismatic leader calls for blah blah blah, and therefore, I can't spell therefore. That's okay. Requires external conquest, right? Does that? I think that makes a fair amount of sense. In essence, the point is that E goes to war because it needs to, because otherwise the country, the governmental body cannot maintain its. No, I just heard something creaking. It's all good. E goes to war because it has to maintain its the legitimacy of the ruling class. For maintaining social harmony, legitimacy, there we go. Requires external conquest. That makes sense, right? Like that. I think that's a rather simple concept, and it's befitting of this sort of our simple time in the Iron Age. That's it for today. Yeah, we literally got nothing done. Yay. But we will pick this up in the future. Yes, I am determined to make this work. I don't know how. Maybe I need to actually make these before we have this conversation. We shall see. But that's it for today. Yes, thank you very much for watching. In conclusion. Don't make fun of me like that. That's not nice. That's not nice. You're too kind. Thank you. Thank you. But please don't sponsor just because you feel sorry for me. There's plenty of... Yeah, just don't feel sorry for me. That's... There's plenty of things you can do if you feel sorry for me that don't require you to actually pay money. For example, by, getting vaccinated. Well, no, not in your case. In your case, I know you're vaccinated. I know you have your booster. It's all good. I'm just talking in general. Anyway, this is too much time today. Thank you very much for watching. In conclusion, please download Firefox. Please don't do Chrome, and I shall see all of you lovely people tomorrow. For did we? Oh, my administrators are both not here. I think. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Bye. No, I did not waste 35 minutes of your time today. You cannot say that. So the meta around there is, I will say that I've wasted your time if I feel like I've had more fun than the audience. But if from the chat it looks like the audience had more fun than me, then I won't say that I've wasted your time. Does that make sense? It's qualitative. Qualitative. Okay, bye now.